Welcome guys, happy Sunday. How's everyone doing? Welcome to another live stream. How is everyone? How was your week of trading? It's already halfway the month, so halfway through the month. Time flies. And yeah, what a month. We have had so much volatility in these last few weeks. And it was expected. I was actually expecting something like this to happen after the first 2 months, where it was a little bit of a ranging market especially in the FX and dollar, and then finally started to move. And yeah, what a week! Like another CPI data that came out, another CPI data that was higher than expected, and there was a big shift in the market. And what investors are predicting when to be the first rate cut from the Fed. Then we had another ECB, so it was a big rally on the dollar, big sell-off, everything else. With gold going all the way to touch 2,400. And meanwhile, yesterday it was a big recovery. It was a big candle yesterday, all the way up, and then full recovery to the downside. And commodities, again, oil with the situation in the Middle East. Now yesterday with Iraq bombing, not Iraq, sorry, Iran bombing Israel. So who knows what's going to happen. I'm actually curious to see whatever analysis we are going to do today, especially if we start looking a little bit for tomorrow's action. There may be already a big gap straight away as soon as the market opens, and basically all the predictions that we may do, they are straight away invalidated. So let's maybe look at a bit more bigger picture. Otherwise, literally, I'm expecting the market to open with a gap, to be honest, today. And that was a little bit of the reaction already that we could see in crypto. There was a big sell-off already over the weekend. As you can see, two bearish days, one on Friday and another one yesterday. Nothing that the market was, or the PA was not actually showing a little bit, because we had already a few lows being broken, especially on Ethereum. For example, that level, I was looking actually personally to see a bit more to the upside. It didn't, kind of just paused on the lower edge of this rectangle that we have, which is based on this high and that structure. That's actually ends up making sense, and Bitcoin actually respected perfectly that level at the extreme, at the highs, and since then kind of breaking this level, getting into this compression. So again, personally, PA, in terms of PA, the indication was there for potential short. Then the news, basically, whatever happens in the world just makes the move happens as well. And yeah, Solana was already bearish in this case. I was looking at least 150, meanwhile it's already 120, 115 where it touched, which yeah, we'll see whether that is going to happen. But I'm expecting a little bit of a gap, I mean, who knows what kind of a gap we're going to have as soon as the market opens in a few hours in here. So yeah, guys, again, what we do in here, first of all, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. Goal is to try to push to 1,000 subs. I'm going to be creating more content. I'm just finalizing the trading journal that I'm working on. I'm doing the recording of all the small tutorials, so everyone's going to be able to understand exactly how to use it. Again, the trading journal, which I need to give it a name, to be honest. Yeah, it covers many things, not just focus on what you usually look at in terms of outcome metrics, but mostly focus on process-oriented metrics, and also focus on the habits as well that we do on a daily basis to look for consistency. The keyword is consistency. That's what we're trying to solve with this journal, to help you guys on that. Yeah, but again, if you are new, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to comment as well. Feel free to share any levels. What we are going to do in here is basically look for the week ahead and try to identify key levels that you are going to be looking. We look at FX, we look at commodities, we look at indices, and we look a little bit at crypto. And yeah, so we go around those 4 different markets in here. So welcome, feel free to share any level that you're looking for, and let's get started. All right, so first and foremost, let's take a look a little bit at the news. Okay, again, CPI, we had another number that was higher than expected. The market was already expecting a higher number, and it was even higher than the market was already expecting, and that led for the big sell-off on the indices and rally on the dollar. Okay, so at this point, normal CPI 3.5%, the core I think it remained at 3.8 when the market maybe was expecting 3.7 or something like that, 3.8 or 3.9. Not really sure, but on a month-to-month basis, you can see there was that increase of 0.4% in here. And at this point, the Fed Chair Powell cannot ignore anymore this fact. Okay, so basically, the last 2 months we had that CPI being higher than expected, and when you had the press conference somewhere in March, 20th of March, maybe it's some other times that he has commented on this. On this factor of CPI being higher than, or the last 2 releases being higher than expected, he basically didn't give any importance whatsoever. But now I think he needs to. Okay, and the market did react to it, because as you can see in here, there was a big shift where all the focus was on the 12th of June to be the first rate cut, and that changed. Okay, as you can see, basically 1 month ago, even if you go slightly farther away from that, the chance was like 70% to be the first rate cut in June. Last month and last week, it was still a higher percentage to be in June, and as soon as the CPI came out on that day, on Wednesday, it changed. Okay, it becomes now 71% probability of remaining the same, and we are looking now for July or September, because basically the rates is the same in here, or the odds, and we are looking maybe towards more September in here for the first rate cut. And this becomes now a big difference, because we were looking, or the market actually was looking as well, for ECB and the Fed to almost be hand in hand in terms of the cuts, and that may not be the case. In this case, there's going to be maybe a delay from the Fed, and the ECB may actually start cutting rates earlier, and this can create a difference between the euro dollar. Okay, we may continue to see the euro dollar maybe continue to move lower, and maybe a more bullish momentum on the dollar. Okay, because that was actually one of the questions that some journalists asked Christine Lagarde on Thursday, if she was concerned about the reports and the data, in this case the CPI data that came out from the US, and she said, not exactly. Okay, we need to understand, these were somehow their words, that we need to understand that the Fed and ECB, they are 2 different institutions, and the problems that are going on in the US, they are maybe different from the Eurozone. Okay, and in this case, for example, the inflation in the Euro is going quite low, it's going in a trajectory. Okay, however, there's concerns with the economy, which in the US, the economy is okay, and unemployment is again 3.8%, so it's quite low still. So there is time, and since the economy is still robust, there is the possibility of a delay in the interest rate in the Fed, not so much in the ECB. So based on what she said, it was kind of to separate the ECB from the Fed, which may tend to be or to open the door for that first rate to cut, for the first cut rate to happen in June. Okay, so that's going to be an interesting part, which can affect definitely the dollar and the euro in the short term. Okay, and that's maybe one of the reasons that we saw such a big sell-off as well on the euro between Wednesday and Thursday, and then continuation yesterday as well on in the market. In there. Okay, so that was mainly the big data that came out this week, the week that just passed. Okay, aside from that, not really much going on, aside from, of course, the geopolitical situation that's going on in the Middle East, which who knows if this is not the beginning of World War III. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone is going to put their senses in place and find some peaceful solution, but it doesn't look good, and who knows. Let's see what's going to happen in there. And another factor, and that is mostly for the indices, is that we just started with another earnings season. There was I didn't really still pay attention to what reports were, but we started with financial institutions, and then we're going to move along for the next 3 weeks. That can be another big catalyst for the indices for the US indices, which again NASDAQ keeps respecting that 17,800, not in here, and however the other two, especially Dow, is already falling quite strongly in this case, and we have been looking for that correction on the indices, to be honest. All right, so the dollar. Okay, so we have been bullish, right? So we have been bullish on the dollar, especially since we had this break in here. Okay, this break to the highs, to the upside in here, we started to be bullish. Okay, so that was something that we were looking for. When price managed to break this structure in here, creating this level, we were bullish. Then question mark, it would be where would the lows go to before kind of resuming the move to the downside, to the upside. Sorry. Personally, I would actually, this would be my favorite level. Price never really got there. There was a daily level in there, and that's actually where price reacted from, which actually made this move to the upside in here. It was okay. We could quickly understand that this level was about to hold, especially after we had this break to the upside in here, that engulf upwards, and this level hold in here to the upside. That was kind of, we went back into this basically range, therefore we started to be bullish basically since then. Okay, and then we're actually looking for this level for price to react. It never did it, it just to react from that, something that we also predicted when we did our analysis before that happens. In here, and then we continue to be bullish with this one. Okay, this was basically another confirmation. Literally there was space all the way until here at least for price to go towards 2, so we were bullish on the dollar, and that's basically where we were at the beginning of this week. If you remember, we were kind of bullish in the bigger picture in here, but we also had broken slightly this low in here, which were a little bit bearish because of that break in here. Okay, and they mentioned that part. There's kind of a little bit of a mix idea in here. However, bigger picture, yes, we are bullish in here. And it was interesting because price actually ended up still faking out this low. Okay, so actually price still ended up going, there's a small demand in here in alignment with this level. Again, it's not my favorite. Personally, I would prefer to see price going all the way down in here and then go up, but it was not necessary. Okay, and we had that big move to the upside, and then you have a little bit of a correction. We did fake out that low. We did fake out that low on time, and there you go. Right, with the CPI move to the upside, there was kind of a nice interesting maybe trend line in here. We had that big spike to the upside with CPI, and since then that was the completely turned bullish in there. Nice reaction from this level. Really nice the fake out that happened in here on the dollar in this particular case. Okay, so we started to break to the upside, we have the fake out, and then the continuation in here, and there you go. I can basically then on Friday morning price just move to the upside. So now the question mark is, what's the target on the dollar, right? That's basically what we'll be looking for. And another question is, should we be expecting the dollar to even break above this level in here and go higher, or should we expect the dollar to respect something in here and start moving to the downside? Okay, that's a little bit of the question mark. Again, this level where price actually paused on Friday, it's a good one. Okay, because we just fake out this high, and that level in here, it was still fresh. In alignment is basically this left shoulder, so that was not a bad level. Unfortunately, it's basically Friday evening, so I'm not really going to be looking for that to trade in that moment, but this was a good one because literally this size never reacted from that level, so it was a good one. So we will see how the market's going to open. Again, that may be a gap in there. Otherwise, price can just continue to rally, and then you are looking a bit more to the extreme in here. There's still this gap in here created back in November that price never really closed, so maybe that's another target. It's just to price to close this gap and maybe react somewhere from here. Okay, so that's also a scenario that we can look for on the dollar index. Yep, we may go there. So this one is here is basically compressed all the way through. So if you consider this all the way until there, so as soon as maybe price breaks this level, it's free to go a bit more towards to the upside, at least maybe go and close that gap. And then you have the other extreme in here, which maybe still be fresh as well, or price may react from, and then you're already challenging these highs in here, and after that then we are going to be able to eventually maybe get to that level if price does indeed continue to move upwards. Okay, now we did respect it quite nicely this low, so there's not really much space underneath, so this is something that we also need to pay attention to. All right, so there are 3 questions that I always ask myself when I'm trying to look especially at the bigger picture, right? So first question is, where is price coming from, right? So where is price coming from? And if you are just looking in this time frame, which is already quite relevant, beginning of the year, price is reacting from this level. This is where the last low is reacting from, okay, which is basically the origin of this upper move in here. Okay, so for example, if price had reacted from here, there was maybe still all this price to go towards to, like, so we could still be bearish in these guys until eventually maybe expecting price to fill out the level until these lows, but price reacted actually from this level. That's not exactly much gap underneath that level. Yes, there is this one, but price doesn't really need to go there since it's already in here. Okay, so that first question, where is price coming from? Second question is, where does price want to go? Like, where it will be the target from this move upwards? Okay, and that's where we have been, and that's where actually we have been quite bullish in that scenario, because we, for example, when price was in here, we were still waiting for price to go there. Okay, so we know that price reacted from a good level. This high didn't really react from anything, it actually broke that level, so we are still bullish. So where does price want to go? Yep, upwards. Okay, that's kind of been our bias. Okay, and then the third question is, where is price at the moment? And that's going to help you to define, should you be looking for a trade in this specific moment, or should you be waiting, and what kind of direction should you be looking for? Okay, and again, just to give an example, for example, if price is somewhere in here, should you be looking for that long to follow this trajectory? Question mark, right? Or should you maybe expecting price to maybe get closer to here, or eventually to there, to eventually potentially look for that type of opportunity? Okay, or for example, now price is in here, maybe price still wants to go a bit more to the extreme. Should from here we already be looking for something like this, yes or no? Or should we continue to be looking for longs? And is this a good level to even look for longs, or should you expect maybe some retracement before looking for that move? Again, question mark, right? So again, then takes you into a new conversation of maybe what's the scale that you're looking for in here. Hey Tovu, good evening, man. How's everything? How are you? How was your week? In here, so yes, so as I mentioned, yes, there is maybe that gap that maybe price wants to go and close it. There is this fake out that happened, and maybe on the lower time frame price hasn't really reacted from it, so it's maybe still fresh in here. Okay, so that's another level on the dollar index that you maybe can pay attention to. Yeah, aside from that, which is this level, that level, and that's it. If by any chance you are looking for any recovery, because price actually moved in a nice compression in here, it starts in here. Again, in my opinion, you are in a zone 3 type of a move at this point on the dollar. Yeah, I'm good, man. All good. Just working, to be honest. Just keep on working. Yep, and that's it. But enjoying, relax. I like to work on the over the weekend. It's not too intense, but it's in a relaxing way. The market is closed, so when the market is closed, kind of it frees space for my mind. I can focus a little bit more on some other stuff. During the week, it's harder to focus on other things because the market's always open. I always keep an eye on the market, and kind of that distracts it all the time. So yes, looking at the dollar index, I'm expecting a zone 3 type of a move. So eventually I'm going to expect some kind of compression until we have the turn. Okay, so even if you by any chance we have now a big turn in here already, this is going to be more or less the target. And eventually I'm going to expect the dollar index to go back in here and to start creating that compression until we eventually have some kind of turn, and that may happen closer to the highs. So that's a little bit of what I'm going to be looking for in here. Let's see if this level continues to hold. Price can go higher. If it starts breaking it, then maybe we can go a little bit more towards this level. And that's basically it in here on the dollar. Not really much to look at in here. Yeah, so that's it. That's it for the dollar. Moving along for the euro index. Let's first look at the US indices. All right, yeah, feel free to share your levels as well, guys, what you are looking for. So S&P, okay, so this was a little bit of the prediction. So it ranged in here during on Monday, and then on Tuesday it moved down, and then on Wednesday that small fake out just before the CPI, it was incredible, right? Just literally in the moment of the news, fake out and a drop to the downside, right? But this is exactly the type of manipulation that the market likes to create. When you have a range, looks like it's already giving the signs to go down. Many people may be joining the move to downside in here. They are getting stopped out. Then of course, next level is, yes, this level of resistance is holding quite a few times. You have many highs in here. So let's look for sells in here as well, because they are still looking at this break to the downside. And all of a sudden, they are placing all their stop losses in here. Like, this is just a clear example of the manipulation pattern that they can create in here. And there you go. Like, again, almost impossible to enter in here because it was literally during the spike when the news came out, right? And there you go. And then it dropped, kind of reacted a little bit from the lower edge of this level, the drop, and then yes, then eventually came back to test this level in here. And we are breaking lows. Okay, so that's what we mentioned last week. We were bearish already. Okay, we had managed to break that level, and I mentioned also, if we do break this level, everything else in here, it looks like it's basically compressed, and you can start aiming eventually for this correction on the S&P. Okay, again, we're going to have the earnings season. That's going to be another like catalyst that's going to eventually affect the indices, but we are bearish. We have been turning bearish for a while, and did mention that level in here, it looked nice. We also broke this trend line all the way through. And personally, if you are looking for any kind of correction, okay, you are looking maybe for this high, that was the previous high back in 2021, and you may have that correction. Okay, you may have that correction happening in here, and that's not much. It will be just around the 8% correction in here after this 30% increase that we have from basically 28% increase that you had from here all the way there. Okay, basically 28% rally since November. So yeah, we may have that level. Okay, again, this is maybe too much. There's a little bit of a gap in here that eventually price can also go to, and that would mean around 5%. Okay, so maybe 5%, 5.5% all the way to 8%. That's maybe the correction that you're looking for on the S&P. We'll see. But a lot of this has been compressed, so if all of a sudden this one just continues to move down, which doesn't really tend to happen, this guy likes to work in kind of in a stairway, kind of up, down, up, down, up, down, in this kind of zigzag way. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. On the S&P, again, can always retest this level. There's even this level at the extreme that is fresh. Okay, that's actually where NASDAQ ended up going to. Okay, this level in here is still fresh. NASDAQ, with the spike on the CPI, reacted from the lower edge in here, and then one day after it went all the way to the supply level, and it dropped again. Okay, so this level on NASDAQ has already been pressed. This high went all the way until there to move lower in here. Okay, so again, even on the S&P, this level can still be good, even that one, and if price goes there, it may even perfect. Maybe you can even try to catch even a bigger sell. And there you go. Like, this is what we have in here. So it was similar. Okay, we have the range, we have to move down, and then you have to fake out exactly during the news, just reacting from the lower edge of this level. The supply is left behind, and price just went there. Okay, but this level keeps holding. Okay, this level keeps holding in here. This 17,800 continues to hold as a strong level of support. Personally, again, I'm looking for eventual price to go further down, but we'll see. Okay, so definitely this level needs to break in here on NASDAQ. So that was another level that was still fresh. We kind of mentioned that level, and then even this one at the extreme is still fresh in there. And even if price might by any chance still wants to recover one more time and go there, it can still. Okay, this is a strong kind of range that price has been trading recently on NASDAQ. Okay, this has been lasting for more than a month at this point in here. We can maybe take a look also at Nvidia. Nvidia broke that structure. Okay, Nvidia broke that low in here. That was something that we're looking for. It's a small break. For me, it's a clear break, even though we kind of had this retest in here. I'm looking for Nvidia eventually to go maybe closer to this level, fake out this high, and then you can be free to drop. Okay, and maybe under test of this trend line as well that we just kind of broke as well in there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if by any chance Nvidia comes all the way here and still respects this level in here. Okay, that may turn it a little bit more bullish, and maybe eventually we can even fake out this double top in here. Okay, that would be one of the scenarios. And the reason we are looking at Nvidia is because one of the main reasons of this still one of the reasons for NASDAQ still be at the level where it is because of Nvidia at this point. Okay, it has been one of the main movers to keep NASDAQ where it is, otherwise it will be already further down in here. But yeah, it is what it is. Dow just continues. Okay, Dow corrected completely. We were already kind of bearish for a while in here. We made that last move upwards, and then eventually we just moved down again. I was looking for that correction a bit more into here. Price just ranged at these levels and it moved lower. That's maybe a level for the future to keep an eye on, and then you are looking at this bigger level in here. Yes, this level can be interesting, but I'm looking for price to actually go below those lows in here and continue to move a bit more to the downside in here. Okay, so that's another interesting one that you are looking for, and then we'll see what may happen around this level. And then DAX, it was a disappointing for me. Because I've been looking, if you follow, like for the last 2 weeks, I've been since the end of March, and when I started to follow that compression, I was looking for that sell on DAX, but price never really retraced the levels that I wanted. Kind of always got short in here, didn't really went there. Kind of in here, kind of missed this level as well in there. Even this one, kind of it missed in there as well. So it's keep missing basically the levels that I'm looking for in here as well. That was another level that I was looking for. And even the highs in here, price kind of left this zone in here behind it. That's actually what one of the sells, the first sell that I wanted to look for after we created these highs, because we're already kind of breaking that structure. So looking for that reversal, and all of it was basically compressed in here. Okay, many lows had already been broken. I mentioned that part as well. Again, this goes almost in alignment with not webinar, but I did cover that topic in here as well. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 live streams ago. How to trade all-time highs, okay, and what kind of weakness you want to see on price before maybe aiming for a reversal. It's something that we need to be, again, aware of. It's hard to trade all-time highs. Everyone likes to try to catch the top. We don't really need to catch the top, by the way, but there is maybe a little bit of information that you can start gathering by seeing weakness, by seeing lows being broken before even looking for the short. And when you start noticing that weakness from price, then maybe you can try to look for those shorts. Maybe eventually you're going to end up catching the top for the moment. And that's more of a talk as well for anyone that is trying to catch the top on gold. Be careful with that. Okay. Yeah, so let's go. Yep, DAX in here. Just continue to move. 1 second. No, console. Okay, this one. Yeah, so DAX, it is what it is. It can continue. It actually broke that low, something that you're looking for a little bit more, and it can even go slightly a little bit more to the downside until we start showing also a bit more now strength from price in this case, kind of to see some buyers getting in action here. We have been respecting basically this trend line quite nicely, just fake out slightly in there and then reacted straight away in there. So yeah, again, this DAX move has been, yeah, it's one of those. Eventually looking for potential retracement and then maybe trying to sell it again. Again, it depends where this low is going to end up. Okay, so but not really much in here. Jack, man, how are you? Long time no see in here. Is everything okay, man? All good? All right, so Euro Index now. An Euro Index, in my opinion, it was one of the charts of the week, okay? The one that actually helped to give the right bias for the week with CPIs and with ECBs. Again, I mentioned also that on the weeks that we have the ECB, Euro Index can always be one of those charts that we should pay attention to create our own bias on what to expect from the euro. And that's what we mentioned. Like this is what I shared also on the server, that as long as this level on the Euro Index continues to hold, and this was, what was this, Tuesday? Yeah, maybe Tuesday or Monday, Tuesday. As long as this level would carry on holding, we would see this happening, okay? Again, we are already breaking some lows in here, some structure, and below that actually almost everything was compressed. There was maybe this level in here that was still okay, but below that everything was compressed, okay? And as long as this one holds, it was this literally left shoulder in there, you were expecting the sells on the Euro Index. And there was actually an interesting aspect in this moment, because on Tuesday there was still a move to the upside on the euro, and basically many of euro pairs, euro yen as well, and so on. But euro index managed to continue to respect this level. Okay, euro index never really managed to break this level, even though some of the euro pairs, maybe the most important ones that everyone looks at, they were actually creating new highs and new highs and new highs, and this one was still holding. And as soon as then it turns, there you go, that's the move to the downside in here, and then you have also the move to the downside on the euro and the remaining of the euro pairs. Okay, so that's one of the pairs of the week in terms of creating the bias. Okay, creating the bias. Then it's all about if you find the execution, you find your entries, that's another story, but at least it's important to get the right bias in here. All right. Congrats, man. Congrats. Yeah, man, I've been away a little bit from the chat. I can't wait to carry on seeing you participating in there on the server, man. But yeah, let's get back to trading. There's plenty of opportunities and volatility at this point in the market. So for us traders, especially if you are not really biased in longs or sells or whatever, and if you just trade what you see in the market, there's going to be plenty of opportunities. I was expecting a busy month in April, and it's not disappointing. It's actually, yeah, the opportunities are there. Looking at the euro index, so that's what we had, right? So we had the big sell-off in here. That was CPI, and then you have the continuation of the move to downside with the ECB. A little bit of indecision in this point, okay? Again, kind of left that level behind, that maybe for the future. We had broken those lows, a little bit in alignment with that small zone in there, and then just crashed. Again, this level maybe still be interesting in here, and you went all the way until there. We fake out this low, and maybe I'm looking for this euro index to get a bit more towards even below this low. Okay, so there's maybe a bit more room to downside on this euro index, getting maybe closer to this level, and eventually you can even go there. Okay, so we have been talking about all this. We predicted the reversal in here, basically almost to the pip of the PI that happened, and we start predicting as well the weakness in here as well. Okay, and the patterns are quite similar actually of the reversals in there. So we'll see maybe a little bit of a recovery, and then maybe another leg down. This for me is an engulf down, so I'm expecting euro index to continue to move lower in there. And then we have the yen index, and this was another one. Okay, this was another one that we've been looking for, and one of the main reasons was because of the dollar yen. Okay, because the dollar yen finally broke above that resistance that it was during the CPI. It went to the upside, and we were just literally trying to see when to look for the shorts on the dollar yen. Okay, and we're going to be able to pay attention to it as well. So we're trying to align basically, and this was the chart. Okay, so as soon as we had the break of this low, again, it's clear the pattern in here. Okay, so we had the first break to the upside in here. We actually already had one good momentum in this moment, but price still kind of retested the lows, still not exactly kind of that fake out. And then we had a proper break, also broke this high in here and broke basically the trend line, and then it was about waiting for that fake out to happen. Okay, we start creating these many lows in here, so and finally we have the fake out, and there you go. This was the prediction. Okay, so we wanted to see after this moment if this level will start to break. There was this zone first, and then break, and if breaks above, then you are looking for price to get to there. And then also interested to see how price would react in alignment with this level and in here. Okay, so these were the levels that you were looking for on the yen index in here, and when to look for the alignment with the dollar yen. Okay, we are looking at this one with in alignment with the dollar yen. Now, one of the main reasons for this yen index to move is actually the other yen pairs. It's the euro yen, it's the pound yen, it's the Aussie yen, and so on. And what we need to understand is that when the dollar is the big factor, okay, when the market is moving because of the dollar, okay, you may want to pay attention to that one. sorry for my writing. Okay, when the dollar is in control, okay, so basically you have the dollar moving upwards, and then you have all the other ones moving lower, okay, and so on, like EU, GU, Aussie, and so on, like everything else is moving lower. But what's happening with the yen pairs in this moment? Okay, basically what we have in this moment is going to have the UJ, okay, moving to the upside. It's a J. It's actually moving a little bit to the upside, following the dollar, but then you have all the other ones moving lower, okay? Yep, AJ, even maybe CJ as well, whatever. Like everyone, this is Euro yen, pound yen, Aussie yen, everything is moving lower, okay? So whatever is happening on the dollar yen at this point is not fully in alignment, okay? Because we have dollar yen, which is an important yen pair, which is moving to the one side, and the other ones are moving to the downside. But because these ones are moving to the downside, again, what you are looking at yen index is the inverse correlation. So if these yen pairs are moving lower, we are expecting the yen index to move upwards, which is exactly what started to happen around this move. Let me just change the color, which is what we start to see in this moment in here. Okay, so price started to move in alignment kind of within this level, started to move to the upside, but it was still not seeing the dollar yen moving lower. Again, in theory, if the yen index is moving upwards, we want to see the yen pairs moving lower, but that's not happening with the dollar yen. What starts to happen in dollar yen is maybe a little bit more of a range. It still goes slightly higher because of the dollar, but it's not as strong as the dollar because this one is actually moving to the upside. So we start to have a little bit more of a, not so much of a range, but compression, not momentum on the dollar yen. Okay. While on the other side, this one is just crashing, okay? These guys are just moving lower, euro yen, because they are following what the euro dollar also is doing, pound, and so on and so forth, okay? So that's what we had in here, okay? In this first phase. Let me just delete some of this, okay? So this is what we had in this first phase, okay? We have this first turn without the dollar yen moving lower, and while these ones are moving. So within this pattern, where is then the next level that you are looking to create momentum in here, okay? So you are looking for a little bit of this level to respect, and then eventually we are looking for price to create momentum as soon as it breaks away from this level, okay? As soon as it breaks away from this range, from this highs, we are expecting our price to do this and to feel this compression, okay? So what I was starting to pay attention to, what I mentioned also on the server, is that, especially focusing on a potential sell on dollar yen, is that since the dollar yen is still not in alignment with the yen index in this moment, the moment that I'm going to expect a sell-off on the dollar yen is actually maybe when this yen index finally breaks above this level, and now from here we finally have the alignment on all the yen pairs. Okay, to make this move is going to finally be in alignment with all the yen pairs and not so much on the dollar, and that's what you want to find out. Okay, when you do finally have the sell off on the dollar yen, it needs to be in alignment with the yen index. So the yen index will need to be in that right side. Okay, and that's actually what happened yesterday, and that was the sell that actually took from the top on the dollar yen in there when it finally gained the momentum in here. Okay, so this is basically the projection, and this is basically what happened in here. Okay, so it's exactly so in this moment. Okay, in this moment it was mostly because of the dollar, of all these yen pairs. Okay, and only in here when you had this momentum, that's actually the moment that we had the move on the dollar yen and the move to the downside on dollar yen. Okay, and then a normal target to be actually to fill this price, and as soon as it takes these highs or close to these highs, we should be expecting a correction, and that's the opportunity now. Instead of looking for longs on this for shorts on these pairs, we are looking now maybe for longs. We start looking for longs on euro yen, pound yen, maybe Aussie yen as well, and maybe a correction as well on the dollar yen. Okay, as soon as it gets here, and now it's going to be interesting as soon as it gets to this level if there's going to be a new momentum to the upside. Okay, because we did manage to take these highs, so we'll see. Now, why to look for the shorts on dollar yen? Okay, dollar yen is too expensive at this point, and the Bank of Japan doesn't want to have dollar yen at 153, 154, whatever price dollar yen is at this point. Okay, most likely it's going to start to intervene or to do something, because that's not good for the Japanese economy to have such a strong dollar yen. Okay, so that's why kind of the need to look for the short, not the need, but start positioning ourselves as a potential looking for the reversal here on yen index. It would make sense, and that's what we have been looking for in here. Yeah, so again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask about this this situation here. But yeah, that's how you can use these indices, the correlation, how to kind of position yourself in alignment, also to understand the moments when you should expect momentum in this patterns that you are trading, and so on. Okay, you're actually going to look at the dollar yen from here, because I don't have enough history on my other chart. Okay, that's basically what you're looking for. Okay, so you start noticing that the compression, the range starts to happen in here, start breaking slightly some lows. You basically fake out, not fake out, we kind of created this trend line as well, and the short actually it was from here. Okay, this is actually where I shorted in there in the lower time frame. It was actually good, a really good entry. It was in here when price finally broke that level, and then yeah, catch the move in here. And you can see the momentum. Okay, so the moment that price actually creates this momentum is the moment where and you can even check the hour, kind of around 1:30, or kind of the momentum actually starts to happen a little bit in here, 12:45. And if you compare with this one, it's around this level. Okay, around 12:45, and then the momentum here 1:30. You catch this move to the upside after we break this highs in here. Okay, so that's basically what you try to do. Let's go back to dollar yen, because you need to look left in here. Okay, unfortunately for me, I actually end up kind of I closed 2/3 of the trade. The last piece, it was literally just before the closing, because the zone that I had the position, it was literally in here. It was still fresh. It kind of left the zone behind in there, and yeah, so I was looking. It was literally 1 minute or 2 minutes before the closing. I didn't really want to get the trade open because again, Iran was already announcing that it was about to go into kind of Israel. So I didn't really wanted to keep any position open just before the weekend. If it was any weekday, I would have kept position open, and because I was still expecting price to react from there, and I may continue to look for sales on the dollar yen in here. But yeah, so looking in the higher time frame, we need to go back to 4 hour daily, 4 hour daily or weekly, because we don't have data or enough data to look into these levels. And that's basically where price is reacting right now, somewhere in here. And I'm looking eventually for price maybe to get a little bit higher. This is one of my favorites at this point. Okay, 156. I don't know when price is going to get there and if it's going to get there, but it could go there. Okay, fake out this high, react from this fresh supply level, and then have a big sell-off from here. That would be one of my favorite levels, and the price gets there, I'll be all over looking for shorts. But for now, price is kind of reacting from here. There's maybe still a little bit more of a room upwards that could go towards to. Again, don't really have a lower time frame to look into it. Again, we are in 1990s, so that's like more than 30 years ago. But yeah, this is basically what you have. This is the lower edge of this zone, so it's not bad for price actually to react and maybe have a correction from where it is. So we'll see. It's maybe a good level, and you start seeing some weakness. Like you start having all these candles in here. You can see the weakness. We already have maybe a break below this low, so maybe this one can be seen a little bit of an engulf down, eventually to push price at least towards this level. Okay, so this was the previous level of resistance that we had, so eventually that can be a target, okay, to look for towards that level. Yeah, so that's just something to keep an eye on the dollar yen in here. All right, so moving along with this one. Yeah, but this was a nice one, and this is just a way to combine kind of the correlation and so on with what we are doing in here. I do believe that increases the odds of success eventually of looking for trades in here. All right, so mainstream now. Okay, so individual currency pairs, euro dollar. All right, so again, this is what I mentioned before. On Tuesday, where was it? Right, you can see in here on Tuesday when I mentioned that the Euro index was managing to hold the highs. This is when you had that move on the Euro dollar. Okay, Euro dollar actually managed to break above this high, creating that level, and while Euro index was still respecting that supply level. Okay, so that was an interesting part, and then eventually we have the move to downside, and that was it in here. Okay, so Euro dollar basically respected that level. In there. Hey man, do you want me to look at BTC? Yeah, I'll take a look into it in a bit. What is your take on Bitcoin? What levels are you looking for in here? Okay, so euro dollar. This was a kind of quite upsetting for me. I didn't sell it. I didn't sell it because of this low, which actually then kind of avoid me to sell also pound dollar. Which, yeah, if that one had broken this low, I would have sold it. Because that one still hold it, I was looking maybe for price to go maybe continue this type of compression. Even though this one was maybe already a break in here, I really wanted that low to actually have taken these ones, and then I was looking for a 70. I've been following it, and we had just broken that highs. I was looking for that reversal, but yeah, price never broke that one, and that was not nice. In there, oh well. Yeah, that all kind of stayed fresh, but in here there was then an entry, but yeah, I was looking for that continuation, and because of that one, then kind of still was indecisive with the pound and end up not shorting the pound neither at those highs in here. Then this was for the CPI. On the CPI, this was one of the buys that I had because price actually managed to break this level, so I was considering that sell as well on the euro dollar. Didn't really look for the trading there. I was looking a bit more on the pounds, but this was the buys. Now, one situation that the dollar index didn't manage to break the high. So again, a little bit of a question mark in here. But the break of this low, it was actually kind of where my bias was on the euro dollar, and eventually to see this move happening in here. And if you know, I was already kind of carry on being bearish on the euro for the time being. In my opinion, that low was already a break below it, and since we had respected that level, I was actually turning bearish, and all of a sudden price now made all this move. There you go, it filled out the range, perfect, and it's reacting now from this nice daily demand zone and 4-hour daily demand zone as well, and there's maybe the room more to the downside in here. Okay, again, if you recall as well, in my opinion, bigger picture, we actually already broke below that level. This was in here already an engulf to the downside, so eventually euro can carry on moving lower. Maybe somewhere in here can have a little bit of a reaction. Everything in here is spiked. There's maybe this level that is fresh, can have a little bit of a correction, or not correction, reaction below this low into this level. Can have a little bit of a reaction from here eventually whenever euro dollar gets there, but not really expecting much. So whatever structure we're going to be creating somewhere in here, eventually that's going to be maybe the target that this low is going to react towards there before maybe crashing and moving lower, and maybe taking this low and being able to finally fill everything all the way there in there. Okay, again, this is just in case price and the euro continues to move lower. Again, I don't know when it's going to get there, but if it starts getting closer to this level, yes, I'll be looking for eventually for price to get closer to here. Yep, now we do have this compression. Again, price is reacting from a good level, the same way that the dollar index is reacting from a good level at the highs, but the dollar index may want still to go and close that gap, which means that maybe the euro dollar also may still wants to continue to move a little bit farther down and go lower. Okay, I'm not going to be doing any projections in the lower time frame because we may open with a big gap in a few hours, and whatever I'm going to spending time on there at this point, it's going to be basically invalidated maybe as soon as we open, because of again this situation in the Middle East. I do expect price to open with a gap in here. So yes, we do have this compression. Price can spike in here. This previous level of support resistance, it's always an interesting level for price to retrace towards too. Otherwise, more downside on the euro as well. Yeah, so hey Sarav, man, how are you? Yeah, what to expect about war, right? That's a big question mark, right? So we'll see. The dollar may continue to move higher. It has been moving to the upside. First reason maybe because of the CPI that came out, and so that was expecting. But yes, maybe in this situation of strong conflict, maybe the dollar is going to continue to rally. Gold is a big question mark as well. Maybe eventually is going to carry on to the upside as well. Okay, we had a big kind of correction on Friday, cleaning out the move to the upside, but it can carry on moving in there. Yeah, and I know I told me that you are short on the card. I'm going to analyze card in a bit. My concern is just, again, I didn't really want to have any positions opened over the weekend, just because of what's happening. And again, I'm afraid of the gaps this weekend, particularly in here. Ethereum, I'm looking at potential more buys. Okay, let me just check Ethereum then. Let's jump into crypto, since you're asking about crypto. In there. Crypto. Should we look from this chart? Let's look at this one. More buys at 2,400. 2,400. Where is 2,400? In here. Not a bad level. 2,700, which is somewhere. Is it an alignment to the previous high? Yeah, it's an alignment with this one. It can be interesting. Don't see it go below 2K. Yeah, I don't really know where the 200 moving average is. The halving, yeah, it's going to be a good question. Like, we actually did a session this week about the halving. I think kind of historically, there's kind of a little bit of a move to downside in the first 90 days after the halving, historically. And then after that, we finally have the expansion on Bitcoin, and eventually the other coins also follow, right? But in theory, kind of you have that first 90-day small correction before it starts to rally, which is just interesting to see. Now, one of the situations with halving as well is that, again, now what's new is the ETF situation, right? And the second part is that Bitcoin managed to break the highs even before. Like, there was no situation in any of the previous halvings that we had, or that Bitcoin had broken just some highs and expecting just to rally, right? So who knows? But yes, everyone, of course, expecting eventually Bitcoin to continue to move upwards, especially after the halve event. So we'll see. And I'm on the same boat as those guys. I think it's eventually going to continue to move to the upside. Now, we had that big sell-off, right? In the last 2 days, since Friday, we had this big sell-off on Ethereum. And to be honest, the data was there, right? We managed to break below these lows. That may have been seen kind of as a move to downside if we count just this level, and price basically reacted from that zone in here, basically the lower edge of this zone in here. Personally, looking a bit more to the upside, but it is what it is. Price just pausing there. Bitcoin was a bit more clear because Bitcoin actually went all the way to the extreme and then broke a key level, and kind of it gave a little bit more of a clear bearish sign in there. In this case, I do like those levels. Again, even yesterday I was talking with a friend as well. 2,700 could be interesting, even where price actually reacted now, because we just kind of fake out this range in here, and it reacted a little bit from this level. Is not a bad one. Otherwise, we have somewhere around this level can be an interesting level for Ethereum to react from. I'm not expecting these guys to turn just in a week, kind of just in a quick turn around in here. I think it will need to create one of those reversal patterns, maybe to spend a little bit of time before turning, instead of just doing a V-shape kind of a reversal. That's not that often that it happens. You can maybe just look before, can if you see it spend a little bit of time in here. Yes, we do have this spike, but we already have these lows all created in there. Okay, we don't really have any lows at this point yet to create that fake out or to collect that liquidity. Okay, even the turning here as well, it took some time. So I don't really think this is still the low. I think price will eventually compress a little bit and eventually turn, and until eventually start to see that pattern, that's going to be the moment I'll be looking for eventually the turn in here. Because at this point, yeah, especially it was on Saturday, also this low in here, I think you may continue to go a little bit more to downside. Again, you can retest this level, can bounce all the way within this range in here to go. But yeah, so 2,700, yeah, that can be interesting. 2,400 can be interesting as well. In here, even slightly a little bit lower, those levels are okay, to be honest, in here. Yeah, so again, I'm not just as I mentioned, like, just saw your question now, where do you predict from here? I'm going to try to see when I start to see some weakness from the sellers and maybe the buyers starting to jump. And as I mentioned, I'm not really expecting a V-shape kind of a reversal in here. That's kind of a bit more my opinion. I'll be surprised if price will just turn like this. Okay, even if by any chance, okay, let's pretend that this is actually going to be the low, at least somewhere in here to see some kind of reversal pattern to give that idea. Okay, so let me just rephrase what I mentioned. Even if by any chance the low is actually created with a V shape close to the low, I'm expecting that turn in there. Okay, not just literally goodbye like this. I'm not expecting that in there. So that's what I'll be looking. Okay, so just again, as a counter trend trader like I am, the same way that I'm not selling all-time highs just right, left and center, I want to see the weakness, and I want to see some lows in this case to eventually create the fake out. Now Bitcoin was the clear one, okay, because it respected perfectly the high in there, and after as soon as we break that demand zone, basically opened the space for price to fill out this compression, and then kind of just retested that zone in there, and it moved lower. Now it went a little bit below that level. In my opinion, we still need to break below this level to actually properly turn a bit more bearish on BTC. It's not that I see anything interesting within this week, but it's not. As soon as it kind of, we still need to break, in my opinion, this wall. Not this wall, is still not the zone. It's basically this one that actually kind of can open the door a bit more to the downside on BTC. And then who knows, in there, who knows what may happen. One of the levels that actually was left behind was in here, in alignment to that one. None of these walls actually went there. That I was looking for a long in there. Yep, never happened. But I'm not expecting really Bitcoin to go all the way back to 40s. Okay, I think that would be a really big drop. I'm not really expecting that. So again, can't be just within this level still, and who knows what's going to happen from here. Okay, maybe fake out that level into this level can be an interesting zone. Who knows? If it goes higher as well, there's more sell opportunity in here, and there are fresh levels behind left somewhere in there as well. So we may get stuck a little bit more in here for a while. And then Solana, that was another one that this one I was bearish. Okay, this one I was more bearish. I like where price reacted from here. In my opinion, these lows were kind of in here to be taken. We left this level behind, and at least until 150, that's what I was looking for on Solana. And apparently, again, the high was good. Okay, fake out this level, that was a good level for price to bounce from. And yeah, this is where we are now. Now these lows are kind of okay in here, but price may wants to go closer to this week in here. Yep, didn't really like anything in here. I was looking for price actually to get maybe closer to this level in there, and then below that we have something in here, and who knows, somewhere in here eventually, maybe not so much. Yep, we'll see. Again, Solana moved to the upside quite quickly, made out this rally. So the same way that you can go quite quickly to the upside is the same way that you can go quite quickly to the downside. It is what it is. Yeah, somewhere in here, maybe can look for more shorts. There's definitely more levels in here to look for shorts as well. So yeah, again, the same story goes for all of them. Not really expecting price to move in a V-shape. If you start, for example, creating this range in here and price starts to show some bullish scenario, maybe break this high, so then maybe somewhere in here can still hold, okay? But at least that retracement still expecting, and maybe, okay, you can maybe do a move like this, fake out all this structure into this zone, and maybe go higher without the need to take new lows. But we need to start breaking some highs in here as well to give that idea in here. Yeah, it's a game of patience, to be honest. It's a game of patience. Yeah, do you agree with me? Like, do you disagree? Like, what's your take? So Sarav, you mentioned that this was your... Yeah, but you were already mentioning, like, Iran was already mentioning, or there was already some news that is on Twitter that Iran was planning to do what he did yesterday. So yeah. Now, 90% of the times there's almost no gap at all over the weekend, but if you do have some event like this that can, some people might say this may be the beginning of the World War III. The last thing you want is, especially if your entry is close to your where price closed, yeah, I don't really want to have trades open at this point. In here, pound, yep, just fill out the range as well. So that was the one. Disappointing, to be honest. The two sells that I did miss, it was both actually at the extreme. So that was the one on the euro that I mentioned that I wanted to see the low on the euro being broken. The pound kind of broke a bit this structure, and there was maybe that sell opportunity. Yep, I didn't end up taking it. Of course, more confirmation if you had actually broken this low as well, and then kind of the sell didn't really manage to do that. That's one of the situations sometimes. Which low actually do you want to see being broken? Yeah, it is what it is. I was looking for price to retest this level, and this is actually a nice point in terms of the pattern that usually we look for. Okay, let's actually make that reference. Okay, so again, we kind of, whatever structure you have in here, okay, up and down, up and down, up and down, eventually break below it, kind of go upwards, and you're looking for price. We're looking for these two zones in here. Okay, three levels that you are looking for price to react from. The extreme in there, in alignment to the left shoulder, and eventually in alignment with this zone. And that's basically the levels that you are looking for price to react from. And in here, on the pound, where does price react, right? So when you created this high, basically this level was left behind, okay? Price didn't touch it, it touched in here, and it touched it in here with this wick. Okay, so basically this level was already reacted from, this level is already reacted from. The only level that is left behind is the highs. It's actually the extreme, the origin, this level in here. Okay, so again, if you go into the 1 minute, you can see that price basically reacted from the supply created in alignment with this level, and basically the supply created with this level also reacted from. Now this level in here was left behind in here. So when price eventually comes back, and that was exactly during the CPI, just close this. That's where price went to, right? Price went all the way, and that's exactly eventually where price went to the extreme. Not in here, not in there, to the extreme. Yeah, this one, yeah, it's another one that I do like to trade news, NFP, CPIs. I do like to trade them. Back into 2022, I do remember catching some of the drops during the CPI, but I do like to trade them a few minutes, like half an hour before I like to be involved in the trade at a good price. And in here, it was already too close. It was already too close to trade when I was looking actually to execute it. I just skipped it, and yeah, I would have managed to survive, I believe, because price never really managed to break that supply unless there was a wide spread in there. Maybe could have taken me out, who knows, but yeah, not really took the trade. Yes, I was still bearish in here, didn't manage to break that structure. We had the breakout was well on the euro. Yeah, so those are added into my missed trades, and it is what it is. But yeah, into the journal, missed trade opportunity in there. And then you have the continuation again, price. Same thing, where does it react from? You can see exactly how many times price bounced from these same levels in here. Yep, same level, and it moved down, and there you go. You finally broke below this level. Okay, so we have been bearish after price kind of went back into this range and respected that level. Again, same level in there. We started to become bearish, and everything in here was compressed, and we were looking for the dollar and the pound dollar to actually go further down in here. And yes, maybe respecting a little bit this level, eventually to continue to move lower. There's this level in here that can still hold to downside, and some structure in there as well. It can still hold price to the downside in here. Yeah, maybe expecting in here some kind of reaction. Maybe, or everything is compressed and eventually price go below this double low, and get a bit more into this zone in here. Yeah, maybe that's going to happen in here. Okay, so we basically run away now and expecting eventually some kind of compression, may correct a little bit, and eventually some kind of compression until we eventually turn. That's eventually what we're going to look for in here on the pound in here. But yeah, interesting move in there. Aussie, what can I say about Aussie? Actually, let's just look quickly at the euro pound. Yeah, just who knows, still in the range, doesn't really care. Aussie dollar, this was another one, man. yep, we managed to break below it. I had this level. If you can look at the previous stream, you can see that I had that rectangle in there. That was the level I was looking for. I waited for it in here, never went there. I waited for it even in here, never went there. I waited for it in here, it never went there. And then I didn't set up any alert when price finally went there. I was distracted, I didn't pay attention to it, and actually then end up missing it. And to be honest with you, when I finally saw the move, again, break of a low, I was looking for this to happen, and it never did. It just stayed there. I was looking for the Aussie dollar to get slightly higher, at least closer to the lower zone in here, and it just bounced in here. Okay, it just maybe reacted from this zone, not exactly that one, and goodbye. Yep, so it's another one. In here, the confirmation here with the break, and yeah, that's it. It's gone. It's gone. Break below it, and maybe continuation to downside in here. Again, this low was already a break below this low in there. So eventually we're looking for Aussie to continue to move to the downside. Okay, so with respect to that level, respect to the extreme in here. Again, can bounce a little bit and then can maybe just react and go to the downside again. And then we're looking for this this Aussie dollar. Again, this high is reacted perfectly also from that level. So the natural move, it will be to the downside. Okay, this basically the way I started the stream, asking those 3 questions. Where does price want to go? In theory, on this move to downside, price does want to get close to the extreme of this range. Okay, therefore we should still carry on. Bigger picture, looking for more sells in here. Okay, now where is price in the moment? That's question mark. Is it now a good moment to look for the sales? Maybe not. That one was perfect. Yeah, maybe wait a little bit to retest this structure. Maybe then you can continue. As soon as you break this low, maybe you can look for more again until maybe price gets closer to this zone in here. Yep, so that's basically Aussie dollar. Euro Aussie respected the break to downside as well. Now reacting from the demand zone in here. So that was done with the break. Yep, just continues to be within this level. Eventually could even go there. We'll see. Pound Aussie as well. That's another one that you look for. Yeah, this one I was looking for price to get here. It never really got there. Just paused. I was looking for a little bit of a manipulation here and price to do this and go upwards. It just paused in here. Never got there. And yep, end up missing this move to the upside. Who knows when price gets there? Maybe there's still a good opportunity to look for a correction. Something to track. Again, all these minor pairs is something that I just keep an eye on the higher time frame. And whenever price gets there, hopefully I have my alerts in place. So I may take a kind of more of a swing position or something that may take a few days to develop. It's not exactly something that I spend too much time on a day-to-day basis looking for in here. What else we have? Then Aussie yen, right? And these yen pairs, they just respected the lower edge of the zone. Never really got closer to the supply. So this was the drop as well. Again, price was still reacting from a good level. We have been looking eventually for this move down on the Aussie yen. Price is still reacting from, okay, it's still reacting from this zone in here. There's a little bit of a maybe even better level in there, but price is still reacting from that zone. It's good, okay? So it's extreme in here. And maybe it may finally go all the way. And now price is kind of possibly within this demand. So we're looking for sales as well. This was another one. Price never really got closer to the supply level, just dropped, and then again in here, kind of price never really got closer a bit more into this level, just dropped again. Again, maybe broke as well, maybe that was something in there. Again, this is not something that I've tracked so much. That's why I just keep my alerts at the extremes and wait for price to get there. All of a sudden, price just reverses, and it is what it is. In here, yeah, reacting a bit from this level. Let's see. Maybe in here can push price higher or eventually can carry on. Like again, this was again that momentum that I mentioned from the yen index when it had that push upwards at around 145, 130. Yeah, again, kind of 12 something, 130. When it had that big momentum on the yen index to the upside, we had sell off on the dollar yen, pound yen, euro yen, and so on. Okay, that was the moment that all of them were in alignment in here. So yeah, we'll see on the Aussie yen what's going to happen in here. So this was dollar yen. Again, this was the move that we're looking for. Yep, initially my target was actually in here, and then eventually I adjusted. I took some positions, some of them initially kind of a small first target in there. Then I took something closer to these lows, and then I was looking already price to go down. Again, I'm still kind of bearish in here. Yep, I ended up closing it. This was literally the entry. It was in here. this decision point. It's kind of where I shorted. Yeah, price just retested. It was still a perfect level to look for a short. Again, in any other moment of the week, I will definitely still carry on looking for shorts in here. Now I need to wait to see how price may open over the weekend. I hope it doesn't create it with a gap somewhere in here. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it stays somewhere in here, or by any chance just goes higher again, so I can continue on looking for the short in there. Euro yen, again, as you can see, again, that momentum finally happening in here. Yep. Where were we this week? Yeah, so that was the turn. Again, price reacted from there. Okay, I did big compression. Again, looking forward to move downside. This was an engulf down, so we're bearish on the euro yen as well. Basically, we're still bearish on the yen pairs and bullish on the yen index. Yeah, so this is another one that kind of paused in the middle. This is another one that kind of paused in the middle, just fake out that level. And good reaction from here. Okay, so as soon as, again, the yen index reacted from the highs, this was the moment that maybe could be for looking for longs on some of the yen pairs, and good reaction here on the euro yen. Okay, after reacting from this demand zone in here. Okay, so yep, good reaction. Again, now I'm curious to see whenever the yen index gets closer to that range again, which potentially can lead to another move upwards. That's maybe when you're going to have another move downwards on these yen pairs. So we'll see, but this is not a bad level. Okay, yep, after this breakdown, price basically just fill that level in there, and pound yen more of the same as well. Okay, so reacted. That was a perfect level. Again, it was with the news in here with the CPI. That was a really good level in there on a higher time frame. Broke the lows, then just continue, and maybe continuation to the downside in here. Again, this was still a valid demand. Price may actually break out this low, which already did a little bit, and get even closer to this level, maybe go higher again. We'll see. For me, it needs to break below this level in here, not just this low, but actually this demand zone in here, to actually start looking for a further move to the downside in here. So that's going to be something interesting to follow this week. Again, what else do we have? CAD, finally. I'm finally looking for sales on the CAD, okay? So I've been ignoring everything in here. I didn't really like all this compression. I was looking initially for a sell as soon as price got in here, but as soon as it starts creating many highs in here, I don't like that anymore. I just skip that. And after this momentum, I'm finally looking for sales. Okay, so we are back. It's back on my radar, dollar CAD in here. And you mentioned that you open a short, like you open a short above this highs, kind of somewhere in here, and it's a good level. It's a good level to look for a short. Again, you have that left shoulder, it's just above this highs. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so I've been following all this compression, two pairs mostly that I looked on Friday. It was the dollar yen, and then it was dollar CAD that I was looking for a sell. Okay, and this is actually something that in the past I would have managed to get two losses in here, or even eventually three, if I started to get on tilt. Let me just bring the chart. Second. Do I have it? Where do I have it? Yeah, just explain it. USD card. Yeah, let me just show this one. Yeah, in the past I would have gotten two losses in here. Yeah. So yeah, this was me typically looking for reversals when price is just moving upwards. Okay. And as soon as you start realizing this break to the downside, which maybe price doesn't even gotten in here, there you go, open door, maybe price, after, especially price respecting it first, kind of looks like it's about to go down, and then all of a sudden I'll be maybe shorting in here, boom, one loss, that would have been one of them, and then kind of again, oh, price broke new lows, so let's look for it again, protecting there, start looking for some kind of reaction from around this level, and yep, price starts reacting again, another attempt to go lower. Yeah, let's short it again. Boom, nothing, loss. All right, so again, this was where I used to have most of my losses, and that was again those losses that actually made me upset in the past, which is again I'm a counter trend trader. I usually look for reversals, but it's totally avoidable if we start looking into the bigger picture. Okay, and by bigger picture means there's absolutely no reason to actually look for shorts in here, because where price is reacting to on the left side, it's not a good level. Okay, recognize when price actually is trending, and it was a full trend. We could see the dollar moving upwards, everything else moving down. So recognize that and try to avoid this kind of sells at the double tops or whatever it may be. Okay, in here. Yeah, so again, this was just one of those days that I would have, yeah. Then you start wanting to revenge, kind of try to recover the losses, and then eventually when price moves down, maybe you missed that first move, and then kind of price goes back, because what price did in here, again, price kind of corrected a little bit. I was actually, yeah, price kind of corrected, make this move. Now you think that you missed the move. Now you kind of look for another short in here. Price pretends it's moving down, and goodbye, it just gets a new high, and now it's basically a third loss in there, and it will kind of carry on like that. Like, and all of a sudden you have 2, 3, 4 losses in a row, just as a counter trend trader looking to trade against what is basically an obvious uptrend here. Okay, so I don't know if you guys suffer from that as well, but yeah, that would be basically what would have done. You see, that's exactly what happened. Price moves down, kind of correct, then even fake outs this high first, then kind of goes down one more time, and you start just at this point, yeah, you're on tilt at this point. After 4 or 5 losses, you start becoming on tilt, try to recover, and yep, not a good thing. And how can you fix that, Mike? So just stay patient first and foremost, but then just look to the higher time frame. Okay, the price was not still at a good level. Okay, everything in here was compressed. This was not exactly fresh where price was reacting from, so stay away from that. Okay, stay away from that and from those kind of trades in there. Yeah, this was kind of one point. I don't really know if you guys resonate. Is that a word? Kind of also kind of feel kind of resonate with me on that one. But yeah, that was I do remember, and I'm happy. Like anytime I kind of manage to not losing in trades like this, I'm a happy guy. I'm really high five myself. Like, yeah, that's progress. Again, this was a few years ago when I kind of reached losing a lot in there. Yeah, where price is now, right? So basically price is reacting somewhere in here. In the lower time frame, there's really nothing much going on in here. We do have maybe some demands in here or maybe something in there. But eventually price can go a little bit higher, okay? And this is where the tricky situation is of looking already for the sells in here. This is definitely a high visible on the daily or weekly, which is good. It's always a good high to fake out. But what I'm expecting still in here is maybe some kind of continuation in here, or kind of a compression, kind of a zone 3 type of a move, which is kind of the compression before you have the turn. Now you may feel this level, okay, everything in here has been compressed without these moves up and down, and may eventually can go all the way to this demand zone or even somewhere in here. Basically, this demand zone is in alignment with this high, so this actually can be a potential good level to look for a long, or at least a target for the shorts. So if that's eventually one of your first targets, and I'm going to be able, and I'm going to try to catch actually that short, but I may want to still see price moving slightly higher. But that's going to be one of the first targets that I'm looking for. Okay, it's going to be somewhere in there. Then if prices want to go lower, perfect, and you'll continue to look for what space is available. But for now, with all this compression that we had on the way up, as you can see, kind of this value is touch. This value is a bit fresh. This value is still fresh in here, can still hold price. But aside from that, everything is compressed all the way till this demand zone in there. So we'll see. We'll see on the dollar CAD, and it's on my radar. I'm going to definitely be looking for potential shorts again. This is going to be one of the final destinations on the dollar CAD in here, which is going to be somewhere in there at the extreme in this level. Price can even eventually go higher than that. Okay, may even go somewhere in there because price actually respected this demand zone in there. So again, that can be one of the final levels because this high looks like never really reacted from that zone. So it's a beautiful level to look for, and maybe some reaction in here as well can be interesting as well. Can actually delete some of this in there. So yep. Yeah, that's basically the cut at this point. I'm going to continue to follow this compression and eventually to catch the reversal. We are in 1, 2, 3. Okay, just 3 bullish candles, nothing much in there. So we'll see. Yeah, EuroCAD just continued to move to the downside as well. Okay, so it corrected, it respected that level in here as well. Eventually start breaking some lows and it just continue move down. So yeah, not exactly the best opportunity to look for. So it is what it is. And pound CAD. Yeah, pound CAD, what's going on? Eventually I actually wanted to see it going a bit more to the downside and some, again, extremes. And it's one of those, once again, that I don't really spend much time on it. I just place the words where I think maybe the extremes are and eventually want to get there to look for potential trades. Everything in between, not going to be really spending much time looking at them. Dollar franc Swiss, yep, it's another one that's quite interesting. There's an interesting aspect about the dollar franc Swiss, okay, which is the correlation with the dollar. It changed a little bit since the Swiss National Bank decided to cut rates. Okay, they were the first ones. It was maybe 175 to 1.5 maybe the cut that they did, and since then the correlation changed a little bit. Yes, in the big news it was still in alignment with the dollar, but after that it was not that in alignment. Okay, usually the dollar franc Swiss would go in alignment with the dollar index and a bit reversed with the euro dollar, and that doesn't really happen that much since the rate cut, which is a different dynamic on when to look at this dollar franc Swiss in here. Okay, again, we moved away from this compression. Price managed to continue to respect this structure in here, move to the upside. Again, we are still looking that question, where does price want to go towards to? Again, we are looking for price to go a little bit higher towards that level. This was a good zone. Price reacted a little bit from here, but eventually I'm expecting price to go slightly more to the upside in here, which may have a little bit of a reaction from here. It may actually do this. Okay, just maybe 4 hour time frame. It may actually fake out this high. Okay, can I go there? Okay, it may actually fake out this high in here, okay, which is this high, bringing us into this compression. Okay, so kind of giving the signal that wants to go higher, but because this level may still be fresh, it can actually break the high and fake out straight away. Okay, so you may take this high, and instead of feeling the compression immediately after the break, you may actually just pause in there and retrace to the downside. It may have a little bit of a correction from here before then moving more to the upside. Okay, let's pretend that maybe you can go, maybe take the high, maybe either retest this previous level and go higher again and feel the compression. Okay, we need to feel that the compression, or it may actually go even a bit more lower and then eventually go higher. Okay, so that can be an interesting opportunity on the dollar franc Swiss. Eventually expecting price to, as soon as you break that level, eventually expecting price to fill this range and getting maybe closer to there, but there's maybe a short opportunity after price reacts from this fresh level in there. Okay, and then again this level, okay, it's quite nice, and that level also is quite nice. Okay, so we have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, but if you do break above this level, expecting eventually price to fill, to go towards there and eventually towards there. Just an interesting one to follow in there, and eventually can target maybe this whatever demand zone. But as soon as you start breaking in here, maybe something in there and then something in there also can be something interesting to look for. And then gold, like what can we say about gold? Like this was a big correction. Okay, this was one of the biggest candles, daily candles that you can see. Okay, it was yeah, basically 9,000 or 900, basically 1,000 pips in a day to one side and then to the other side, which is incredible. Okay, looking at the daily candle, it even turned bearish in here, and even on the weekly, it's a big week that happened in here. Okay, so again, who knows what's going to happen? I do like this demand zone, and maybe that can be a little bit of an interesting zone to look for. Yep, after such a big drop, who knows what's going to happen in here? Are you going to be ready to correct? Who knows? Again, how price is going to even open in a few hours, it's going to be interesting as well. I'm not really trading gold at this point until kind of it slows down. It's too quick for me. Not really interested in looking for to trade this type of a move or to look for any kind of reversals in here. Oil is a different one. Oil is more interesting. Okay, and oil is another one that kind of missed yesterday not yesterday, on Friday in the evening in here. Okay, so oil, again, it was another one that I've been waiting for price to get there. Price pausing here. We broke one low, bearish, broke another low, still looking for price to go further down, even though kind of nice reaction from here, but you had all these highs indeed fake out. And again, it was yesterday in the afternoon. I was not yesterday, on Wednesday, on Friday, and yeah, I was already a bit switched off to look for trades, but really good reaction. And yeah, it upsets me because there was actually good PI in here. There was actually good PI around this level to look for a trade, and yeah, I was not focused. That's another one actually goes into my mistrades, because that was a valid setup to look for. There's good confirmation here that maybe price still wanted to go lower in this level, and yeah, with PI there was a trade in there to look for. Yeah, eventually oil can go a little bit higher. Again, all the situation in the Middle East, this is another one that's going to be quite volatile in the next few weeks. We are looking for that move to the upside. So again, where does price want to go after we start breaking these highs? We wanted to see price going higher, okay, after especially respecting this demand zone, and maybe price still wants to go slightly higher in here, okay, maybe to touch $90, or eventually can even go higher. But yeah, but for now, this was kind of a good level to look for. Maybe price can bounce from this level. Who knows? Maybe we're going to have a little bit of a correction before moving higher again in here. So we'll see. But yeah, I do like the range. Now we have a double top. So anytime we have a double top now, maybe we can create a bit more of a move lower. Then eventually can fake out this double top exactly now, maybe into this zone in here or a bit more in there, and then eventually have a bigger turn. Okay, this may now be the beginning of this pattern that you may have in here. Yeah, so we have a nice little double top. Maybe we have a few lows as well. That's nice. Maybe break below it, maybe retest next level, and then eventually can fake out this level and go from here. Again, maybe eventually price can even challenge this high and get closer to this level in there. But yeah, that's a nice one on oil, something to carry on looking at. And that's basically it, guys. Anything else that you want to look at? Any questions as well? What else? Have you guys did your weekly journal? Did you guys review your trades? Do you guys track your missed trades? That's another question. Yeah, so even though, for example, for me, it was a positive week, I'm going to share it on Twitter in a bit. But even though, by the way, I shared all of that analysis as it was happening, what I explained on the dollar yen, I explained it, I was sharing it on Twitter as it was happening even before. Okay. Basically all this week, that was one of the assets that I was looking for. I will try to be more, I'll be more active as well on Twitter, and also sharing more content on YouTube. I'm just reaching on to get all this trading journal completed to share with and to revisit. And then I'm going to be more active on that one. But yeah, any more questions? Anything else? Are you guys ready to start the week? Change that. All right, so thank you again. Subscribe to the channel. Again, the goal is to push this to 1,000 subs, and yeah, just keep focused, guys. There's going to continue to be plenty of opportunities. Okay, for example, if you do have a quick look at the VIX, it starts to jump again. Okay, so we have VIX jumping back to 20. There's been a while since it was at 20. Okay, and basically touching the upper edge of this rectangle in here, and there is already a break to the upside. Again, if you want to look at VIX also in the with PA after testing out these lows, so eventually looking for the VIX to move slightly higher, and that's going to mean even increased volatility as well in here, which is going to be interesting. So yes, I was expecting already March, but April in specific to be a really interesting month for us traders, with plenty of volatility, not just ranging, actually good moves in the market with momentum, as we are having as well in the FX, commodities, in crypto as well, with good moves. So yeah, it's literally a good market to bring your A game and to do it as much as possible. How are you, Zhang, man? How are you? What do I think? How do I think that that war, right, in the Middle East is going to influence trend? First of all, it's going to continue to create a lot of volatility. Have you met before, by the way? Ah, yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, man. How can I drop? I want to drop you a message. Yeah, from Alpha Chain. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, I recognize the name. That's why. Long time no see, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. First and foremost, volatility. Volatility, I think, is going to be quite, quite wide. I think it's going to provide a lot of opportunities. Even without the war, I was expecting the indices to start being a bit bearish in the US. With war, who knows exactly what the reaction is going to be. But we may have those big moves up and then maybe correction down. Who knows if we are going to get into some kind of range or not. But yeah, it's a bit scary. Commodities going to continue. Again, safe haven assets may continue to go higher, with gold as one particular one. Again, it depends on what kind of perspective you are looking for. If it is more for intraday setups, if it's kind of more for buy and hold, that's going to be something to consider. Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think is volatility. I think volatility is going to be quite big, and it's going to provide a lot of opportunities. Yeah. Even inclusive in crypto as well, because I remember that we were more focused on crypto as well. Yeah, crypto is going to be, it's going to be quite wide. Yeah. So who knows? I'm actually quite curious to see. One of the first signs is going to be how the market is going to open in a few hours. That's going to be one of the first signs. If the market actually is worried about it, or if it's almost a non-event. If it is a non-event, that's going to be quite strange. If there's no gaps, that's going to be quite strange. Because I think it's kind of an event. Even though it was slightly predicted on Friday, then it was almost, no, it's not going to happen, and then it happened, so we'll see. We'll see. Tesla continues to hold there. Meta starts to range quite a while. It starts to be in a good position to potentially turn. We do need to break maybe these lows in here. Yeah, may need to break these lows. No good reaction from there. May go retest this level in there. Yeah, Meta is going to be an interesting one. This one is still going higher, so eventually just do this. Yeah, with the earnings, when it's going to be the earnings in the year? 23rd, in 2 weeks from now. 10 days basically. Yep. Apple, is it okay? Yeah, it holds, managed to hold this level. Yep, good. In my, yeah, it's holding. Yep, respected. It's nice. All right, guys. Yeah, Shedzang, I need to get in. I'll look for you. I'll send you a message. Thank you. Have a nice week, and yeah, have a good one. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you for the interaction. I appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.